Sup, it's your boy Big Reg, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all the Michigan Wolverines on this dawn of a new era in Michigan football, the start of the Kyle Whittingham regime. Kyle Whittingham, of course, former head coach at Utah. He had over 20 seasons there, I believe, and he won a bunch of games, got a lot of developed a lot of players, got him to the NFL, and he ran a clean program. And you know what? That's exactly what this team needed now, especially with all the well, with all the stuff that's been happening around the program. Joining me tonight to celebrate the hiring of Coach Whittingham, first, as always, the one and only producer Jay Bizzle.
Who knew that instead of one coach from the Big 12 coming to coach Michigan, we got the other one.
Hmm?
But man, oh man, we'll see how this turns out.
That does not sound like a resounding vote of confidence so far from producer Jay Bizzle. He's a little bit, I think, he might be a little bit biased because his main candidate, Dilly Dilly, did not feel willing to come all the way over to Ann Arbor. And you know what? I don't blame him, given the winter storms that he would have to face. Him and his family, I wish him the best in sunny Arizona. Also joining us tonight, this man has been calling for Coach Moore's ouster even before all the shenanigans were revealed. It's the one, the only JC from Sunnyside.
Yeah, happy New Year to everybody. Merry Christmas. I mean, it's been a tough 2 weeks. Maybe the darkest days of Michigan football, arguably. But one unsung hero that we have to shout out before we get into Whittingham is Papa Bear, Papa Poggy, for holding it together for the last couple of weeks. Without him, I don't know if, players stay together.
Yeah, well, that's
And we only have three players sitting out in the Citrus Bowl, which is a testament to Poggy and his leadership and his care. But ultimately, he wasn't the man for the job. But we do appreciate him kind of holding the fort and caring for the kids.
hey,
So raise our glass to Poggy Bear.
there you go.
I think it's Poggi, but whatever.
Hey, listen, Poji Poggy, listen, he doesn't discriminate on eating food all the time either. So I don't know what I'm saying anymore. What am I saying? I'm just trying to say he's kind of a big fella and he's jovial and he's just what you need at Christmas time. And Biff Poggi did a heck of a job keeping that team together and the spirits. Um, you know, the spirits united and the morale high. So again, kudos to him. Hey, listen, let's jump right into it. There was a lot of names that were being tossed about, rumors galore. Kalen DeBoer out of Alabama. Everybody was high on it or said it was a done deal. Turned out not to be the case. Kenny Dillingham, Dilly Dilly. All he did was dilly dilly with his agent to finesse ASU into giving him a lot more money. That's what Dilly Dilly did. He did the big old Dillio. So I raise my glass to you, Kenny Dillingham, for doing what you did. Hey, you know what, producer Jay Bizzle, I don't know what kind of things you had said to him or not. Maybe you didn't say anything. I don't know. I don't know where the fine line is between the departments. But did you have any hand in the potential recruitment of Dilly Dilly?
None whatsoever, but it was interesting to consider. Youth uh previously has not shown us some good highlights. So it's actually interesting to go the opposite way to get someone who's pretty much towards his last stops at the collegiate program into the university. But hey, right now we need some solid foundation. We need people who are, great men,
Great
role
man.
models, loyal, committed, hardworking, and everything that's just mentioned now. It seems to be what Whittingham is going to bring to the program. So, man, it is very interesting for me personally, just being in Big 12 country, which
This
is
guy.
really weird to say even still. But we like I've seen Utah more often now because I'm in Big 12 country, and to see them and the way that they run their program, there's great parallels to what could be possible from there to now Michigan, and that's why it's still very much a wait and see for me to see who he brings in,
Hmm.
see who he meshes within the cultures. I don't think it's too much of a culture clash, but the willingness to run the ball, the willingness to be physical, to have solid offensive and defensive lines, like there's lots to see that is going to be potential greatness.
I don't know how you felt about Dillingham. I think initially I was, yeah, he should be the front runner. He's young, he's energetic. But the more I listened to him, there was something about the way he talked and maybe a little too emotional. There's a lot of like heavy
Whoa,
breathing
whoa, whoa, whoa,
between.
whoa.
I mean, just taking a lot of breaths during the interview. Just I don't know, just huffing and puffing. Just something about him just seemed a little overly emotional. And I don't know if that's what Michigan needed right now.
So you're saying he was the Paul McCartney to Sharon Moore's Michael Jackson and Ebony and Ivory, two overly emotional guys.
A little bit. You know, remember Sharon Moore, his
Uh,
interview at Penn State after Penn State? You
who
know,
can forget?
that
Who can forget?
there was a little bit of like I wondered if there's something like that in Dilly Dilly.
I would hope. You know what? I would hope. I would hope not. I'll just say that. I hope not. And I don't think there is. I'll say that. You know what? Let me go on record and say I don't think there is any Moorishness in Dilly Dilly. Let me go on record as that. Okay.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just it's just a little, thought that I had.
But that got you scared about Dilly Dilly, the
Yes,
over
yes. And
emotionalness.
then you got DeBoer,
Yeah.
who, I think he's connected to Alabama. He's a big name just because of that. He did well in Washington, but you know what? He wasn't nothing special. And then you got DeBoer, who, not DeBoer, you have Whittingham, who we got. And I think Whittingham, 66 years old. I think he's proven
Mhm.
he's done more with less at Utah
Yeah.
than I say what DeBoer has. So I think, on a impact level, I give the edge to Whittingham. And he's a fiery guy too.
Very
He's a
true.
fiery guy for a 66-year-old, you know. He's a fiery guy. And I'm excited for him. I wonder about, his recruiting. I wonder who, like producer JB said, who he's going to bring over. The one wondering I have is he runs an offense like Harbaugh, right? Run it. I think he was like 90th in passing offense in the country. What is that? How does that speak to Bryce and the wide receivers? I think he's got some work to do there. Great running game, hard nose in the trenches, kind of like the Harbaugh blueprint, but he's gotta also evolve and just up the passing game.
Well, I don't want to speculate on what he will or won't do with the offense, but the bright side, the good things. Well, we don't know if it's official yet, but all the chatter has been that he's going to bring over his OC from Utah to Michigan. That's all the chatter, and I could see that. That guy had led his offense to like I think it was a close to a 15-point improvement versus the season before. So that gives me a lot of hope. That gives me a lot of hope. The other thing I like about this Whittingham guy is, you got to remember, first game in the Jim Harbaugh era, Utah came down to Michigan and they beat Michigan. You um, all that hype and the happenstance and the big lights, yada yada yada. But you know what? He was able to get his team to focus, especially in the big house. You got to remember, it was a night game at the big house against Jim Harbaugh, first game head coach, all the hoopla. But he was able to get his team to focus and get the W out of there. And he's been consistently good over these years. I can't tell how many times he went 10-2 or better. You know what I mean? The guy gets results without the greatest how to say ingredients, if you will, you know. But what he does get, he does coach up. So that's another big, big, big plus in my book. You know, if you could coach a guy up, that shows development. That shows, how to say, setting a standard. That's what I want again. I want a guy that sets a standard for excellence and helps these young men meet that standard of excellence. I think we I don't think. I know that we lost that this past 2 seasons under Sharon because he was not a focused individual. I won't go into all the sort of details of why he wasn't focused. Okay? Okay? That anyway. But I'm glad to see that there's somebody that's going to hold these, not only himself to a standard, but the young man in the team to a standard. And I think that's going to pay big dividends. Big dividends.
There's
Well, for sure,
probably
he won't lose focus because of what Jerome did. That's it's not possible for him, right?
Golly.
It's just not possible.
I don't want to even touch that. But
Well, let me tell you this though. They already checked his Instagrams and
I'm
all
sure,
this stuff.
I'm sure,
And
Okay,
I'm
the
okay.
sure,
only person the
I'm
only
sure.
females he follows are his wife and his daughters. That's it. That's
Okay,
it. That's the
I'm
only,
glad. I'm glad you
that's the only thing.
clarified what they checked.
Huh? They
I'm
checked.
glad. All right,
They
all right.
checked. So he's good on that, because when there was checking Sharon on the backside, he was checking out a lot of backsides, if you know what I'm saying.
I
Okay.
mean, there's been nothing more put on the bulletin board because of Whittingham, and there will probably never be anything on the bulletin board whatsoever, other than maybe he drives a motorcycle and does something like that. But yes, that whole era, that scandal, everything about it, which we've been nonstop grilled about. Every fan base has come and tried to lay their smack down on all those things. You can't do that with Whittingham. So that's a relief.
That is
But
a
at,
relief.
at the same aspect, right? This also gets into this whole like he's 66 years old. He may do things more old fashioned. How does that relate to our recruits? How does that relate to the people we have now on the team? And I think that's the part where he really needs to be very decisive and selective of who he puts on the staff because it's got to be, again, like I said, culture crossing. There's not too much that's different in terms of like program standards, I think. Yeah, running the ball, having a great offensive and defensive line. Those are both things that both Utah and Michigan, always strive to have. And so that part's great. But then once we get into the superstars, the 5 stars, Utah is not known to bring in a lot of 5 stars, if at all. But he does coach up a lot. And like, JC from Sunnyside said, he puts people in the NFL, right? And so that's been a great thing to see. But we have a
Come on, come on. You guys,
bunch of stars coming in and who are checking to see like what's going to be the conversation like, how is he going to position himself. So that's what I really want to see is like how does he connect, the positive parts of what we still have to what he wants to do. So that's the wait and see that I'm really interested in seeing. Like if he just pulls everyone from Utah, BYU, like people are speculating right now, there might be something that we see basically recruits saying, okay, I'm out. Like this is not what I
nah,
signed up for.
nah. I think that's where the Michigan brand uh, repositions the all that stuff. Because you're still gonna, you can't get around the fact that the Michigan brand is gonna get you a lot of money, get you a lot of exposure. Something that, with all due respect to Utah was not gonna be able to do. You know what I'm saying? Number one. Number two, now with this bigger platform, I'll call it that, because this is, let's say, let's be honest, this is top five program as far as prestige wise in the country. Maybe not in the results for the past couple of years, you know. But the job, once you get in there, it's a lot easier to bring all them people in. Those kind of caliber, that next step, that next level of caliber. Because, and I'm not worried about his personality. I think his personality with the recruits is going to hit if you're a dog. If you're the type of player that's a dog, wants to get in there, wants to compete, you know what I mean? Wants to get better every day, is about handling your business. I think that's going to resonate with a lot of 5 stars and 4 stars. You know what I mean?
Speaking
Um,
of 5 star, Utah has a 5 star, Otoa or something,
this guy always,
offensive lineman.
come on, this guy.
It's not Otan I don't know, it starts with an O. OT. It's a 4-letter word. But 5 star 2026 cycle,
There you go. See?
maybe, right? Whitting follows Whittingham. If the offensive line coach also joins Whittingham,
I
there's
think
also
they
a
would.
4 star corner, right?
Mm.
Top 5 in the country who might also follow. And then don't forget, there's rumors about the BYU defensive coordinator following Whittingham, right?
Mm.
Bringing Whittingham on board. And you look at their recruiting board, they got they got a linebacker and a safety that look like dogs. That might be like, hey, you know what? BYU versus Michigan. I get twice the NIL money. Yo, I'm gonna go there and make a name for myself on one of the biggest platforms in the country.
There you go. And then also the equipment, the facilities that you'll get at Michigan versus those other places. Because you got to remember, one of they've done, different trips and all that kind of stuff, blah blah blah. But there's been people that have said that the Michigan weightlifting room is one of the best, if not the best, in the nation. Not just in college, but even on a pro level, even on a pro level. And then you got all the other stuff like the indoor practice facilities, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. The barbers shop, the bowling alleys, yada yada. We all know all the stuff. Okay, I'll just say it's a great to be a Michigan Wolverine, especially if you're a 4 or 5 star kind of dude. So I'm raising my glass to that.
And you got to think like they've been probably trying to recruit the 4 and 5 stars the last like few years. He just couldn't do it because of Utah. So he probably still has built up a network out on the West Coast, Mountain West, that area. So, that pipeline now is more feasible, right? Because he's got Michigan. And a lot of the Samoans, I hear Samoans, the wild Samoans from the WWF. Yo, I think we're gonna have some like the Fatuas, right? And they coming. They coming.
I do like the prospect of bringing more Samoans, AAPI representation on the Michigan team. We really haven't had much, huh? Now that I'm thinking about it. The closest we had is a couple years ago, Roman Wilson from the island of Hawaii.
Mm.
That was about it, and he wasn't even AAP, but it was close enough for me. So I raise my glass to you, Roman Wilson. What do you call it? Not official, but what do you call it?
Huh?
Honorary? What?
Honorary. There you go. Honorary AAIP.
AAPI. Holy smokes.
Oh, AAPI. Is that where we are?
Oh my gosh.
Holy smokes.
AAPI. I don't know. I don't know all the terminologies, man. I'm drunk. What do I know? I don't know. Anywho,
But it's hopeful because I think when you look back at when Harbaugh made that shift to the next level, he had to let go of, Don Brown. He had to make some wholesale changes. We're forced to make some wholesale changes, right? I think Wink is probably gone. Um, who's our offensive line coach?
Steve, what's his
Grant
face?
Newsom.
Oh
Grant
yeah,
Newsom, right? He's probably out the door. You know, w- uh, what's the
Ron Bellamy, maybe.
Bellamy is probably out.
I feel bad for the guy they just hired. What's his name? The guy, the special teams coach.
Oh, oh yeah.
Combs.
Yeah, Kerry
Oh,
Coombs. Oh, he just got hired, and all of a sudden the next day, what?
yeah, I know.
He did what?
Right.
The
Oh,
priority right now, in my opinion, Poggi, associate head coach, and then Alfred. Keep him as running backs coach, and or I don't know, even like give him some kind of like co-coordinator, something or another, because those two, in my opinion, essential, must have If everyone else obviously is very easily replaceable, but I think those two are irreplaceable for our
Yowzers.
program in transition.
What about the strength and conditioning guy, the
Get him out of here. Get him out
Ben
of here.
Haber disciple?
Get him
I
out.
don't even remember his name.
Did
You
you
know, like him?
feel did you feel like our team was stronger these past 2 years? No,
Yowzers. Ooh,
no.
Just
ooh.
look at the way we perform in the trenches, in the
There was
big
no
games.
push, no push on anything.
More than anything, you know what was getting me was the all the muscle injuries we were getting all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah,
Stuff like the whole Will Johnson thing last year, he never got right. Or was it 2 years? Yeah, yeah, last year.
yeah.
And then this year with all the linemen going down, it was like a carousel of offensive linemen coming in and out, always injured with this or that. And then finally Justice Haynes. I felt so bad for Justice, you know, but he got injured and he kept getting, so all those kind of muscle injuries, all those kind of that kind of stuff just made me feel like, ugh, what is going on? What is going on? Why aren't we as durable, as overpowering as we used to be? Made me wonder. Well, I don't know. I don't even know who he has for a strength and conditioning coach, but I got to figure he's pretty good. No?
Yeah, I mean, the only way you don't keep Alfred is if he knew a lot of stuff and he just didn't say anything, you know?
Oh,
That's gonna be
Steve.
a
I feel like him though being relatively new, like that's probably less likely. I mean, who knows? Honestly, who knows? People knew, and so they gotta go. But yeah, that's like the underlying aspect of it is that yeah, clean house, man. There's like so much filth in this program that's just been it needs to be
Filth.
cleansed.
Mm.
Get
it's
rid
just
of get rid of some of the athletic department people because they clearly knew for more than 1 year. Also, so it's only beneficial if we clean house as best as possible.
I 1000% agree. Got a clean house. It started with Josh Gaddis and the shenanigans with the recruitment
Oh
room.
man.
Then you
Oh,
got Matt
wow.
Weiss. Then you got Sharon. It's just like on and on and on. It's just like, what the heck is going on? Just clean house, get new people in there, just bring stability back. Just, uh, it's very disappointing, but we know that Michigan is not just those three. That there are far better people out there in Michigan, in the Michigan program, and
John Beeline for AD.
Oh
John
my.
Beeline for AD. So like they don't define who Michigan is, but it's a blemish. It's disgusting. I'm disgusted by those things.
Speaking of which, this kind of reminds me of that whole, remember way back when Brian Ellerby was running the team and we got, we had those shenanigans as well. What's
Brian Ellerby, he did.
remember basketball coach,
With
Yeah.
Mateen Cleaves.
huh? Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
There was
oh,
just
yeah.
all sorts of just, bad stuff going on with the Michigan basketball program. Finally had to get rid of him, and then they struggled for a bit though, finding another guy. They brought in Tommy Amaker. Remember him?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
from Harvard.
Just sat on the bench going,
in his
okay.
turtleneck, in his
That
turtleneck,
turtleneck. Yeah, that Tommy turtleneck amaker.
freaking
He's just
Dookie.
with the towel going. And
Oh, the
then
fucking Dookie.
but it finally turned around when, they got a guy like John Beeline in the room. So, and if I'm not mistaken, John Beeline wasn't a spring chicken when we hired him for the
No,
basketball program. I think he was over 60
yeah,
when he started at Michigan,
early 60s, yeah.
right? But he was the same type of dude that had achieved success at other schools, smaller programs, if you will, Richmond, Xavier, et cetera, et cetera. And then when he got the backing of the Michigan powerhouse, he made some really, really big moves on that stage. So I'm hoping for a similar kind of thing with Kyle Whittingham. I think he's got the chops for it. I think he's got the how to say his thing isn't like pie in the sky. It's not like a gimmick. His stuff is all hard work. You put in the time, you put in the work, it's gonna get you results. So that's for me. It's not like some gimmicky new fancy schmancy offense or defense or whatever. What I'm trying to say is this doesn't feel like a rich rod hire, because remember the rich rod hire was kind of like that. Yo, this is the shiny new thing that we're gonna try. Doesn't feel like that at all. It feels more like a John Beeline-esque hiring, and that for me gives me a lot of comfort. So I raise my glass to John Beeline. Wow, look at that. Nobody's got anything to say after that. Because, what more do we need to say?
I was just trying to see if where Kyle Whittingham came from. He grew up in Provo, Utah, graduated from BYU 1984, and then coached University of Utah after a long stint.
I mean, that just goes to show. Well, another thing that's a good thing is this guy understands heated rivalries, because one of the most heated rivalries, of course, is Utah versus BYU. So, he understands that kind of I don't want to say hatred culture, but the better way to put it is just rivalry culture and the importance of rivalry culture and how it helps shape, the goals and aspirations of each season.
Yeah, and I think I read that, I said he was fiery. Like he would not name them BYU. He would name them like a team down south or something. So he knows any kind of intensity in the rivalry. The other interesting thing is he was an Urban Meyer kind of like Urban Meyer was his mentor, and Urban Meyer gave him the keys, right, over Ryan Day. And I think Urban Meyer, thought more highly of Whittingham than Ryan Day. And now Ryan Day will be facing Whittingham in the game, which is be an interesting matchup.
It is weird hearing Urban say like, "Oh, Michigan got a great hire in Whittingham, and Michigan's gonna be blah blah blah," because I know it's a little bit inside of him is like tinging like, "Damn it, why did he go there?" He could have gone to OSU, blah blah blah. Uh,
Really? I
I
think
I
I think
I
part of
can't
it was saying, "Ha ha ha, I'm so good now. My lineage, my coaching lineage, has even infiltrated Michigan." Part of me is almost like that.
like
Maybe
Urban's inside of Michigan now.
yes, because this is we can't we can't he in some ways then Kyle Whittingham is the Harry Potter of Michigan. You know,
I don't know what you're talking about, but
Harry Potter and a Voldemort. The thing with the squiggle on his head.
no. Stopped after the first
Holy
movie.
smokes! I raise my glass to Harry Potter.
Do you have any concerns or wonderings about Whittingham, other than all the glaze that you've been pouring on right now?
I know.
At this point, I mean, it's all speculation. But like I said, the thing that gives me a lot of confidence going into the thing is he's got the track record. It's not like he went like 10-2 and then all of a sudden went 4-7 and then bounced back up to like 9-3 and then bounced back down to like 5-5. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that kind of yo-yo kind of record. I think the worst he did in a season was like in the past, like I'll say decade. I want to say it was 9 wins was his worst year. Which is pretty darn good considering the fact that before the Big 12, he was in the Pac 10 or 12. I can't remember what they were. And they still had some powerhouses with a lot of money and USC and Oregon, but he went toe to toe with them every single year.
I know. I am more on the side of like he's really good for the program. He's what the program needs right now.
Yeah.
I just can't help wonder like if the players can connect with him, to be honest. That's just a wondering, I'm just throwing it out there. Like he's 66.
This guy.
He's got this mullet looking
Oh,
thing. He's and like again, he likes to run the ball, which is not the current crop of players. They weren't recruited for that kind of offense, a more smash and spread kind of
Well,
offense, you know?
what? All right. Well, first I'll say this. This coming from the guy that just gave Biff Poggi praise for holding the team together. You think Biff Poggi has much in common with the kids? He's a hedge fund 100 million. He's got like $500 million, and he's got huge boobs. You think? I mean, what does he have in common with the kids? But he can still connect with them. Come on. I'm sure Kyle Whittingham is able to connect with the players, is what I'm trying to say, without besmirching Biff Poggi. I take that back, Biff. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I raised my glass to
There's
you.
something likable about Biff. There's something about Biff in the way he talks. He's real. And again, I'm not saying Kyle is not like that.
No?
It's just that the players are going to have to get to know him,
Oh, of
and there's
course.
not a lot of time for them to get to know him before the transfer portal opens in 7 days.
Well, I'll put it this way. Jim Harbaugh is a weirdo too. Let's be honest. But somehow he was able to connect with the kids. I mean, like even afterwards, the kids, when they interviewed him, they would say like he did a lot of weird stuff during, recruiting and he was a weirdo and blah, blah, blah. But that was endearing in a lot of ways because he didn't do anything well before. All right, pause. You know
Pause.
what I mean?
Pause.
Like awkwardness, awkward stuff.
Again, I think that awkwardness was a selling point, right? And it worked. I don't know.
He was all football.
I feel like Whittingham is more like Clint Eastwood cool, and I'm
Boo.
not sure if the kids feel connected to like a Clint Eastwood cool, you know?
Holy smokes. You're saying he's like a Clint Eastwood Gran Torino? Like, get off my lawn.
A little
That,
bit, a little bit, a
that
little bit.
Yeah,
what
but
are
then
you
the
doing
the
here?
the Hmong kid loved him. So
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, whoa, whoa, I mean,
stop. You're doing
Easy,
AAPI's
easy,
injustice right there.
easy.
But anyways, like I said, this is why for sure I think Poggi needs to be the transition team. I think if anything, Poggi understands that more than anyone else because right now he's leading the team. Only three players have said they're sitting out the game, which is unbelievable to me in this day and age where in January 2nd, even he said maybe up to 20 kids are going to transfer away, and then everyone shows up except for the three that we knew that were either out of eligibility and or going to the draft.
yeah.
They all said that they're stepping out of the Citrus Bowl, but man, if he can get a victory, that should cement his position within the new regime, if I would call it like that. But Kyle's got to understand that. Kyle's not a dumb guy either. He understands like he's coming into a new culture. You can't just start afresh completely. There has to be some kind of transition method. So Poggi's a perfect example. And again, Alfred, relatively new to the program, right? With only 2 years under his belt. Uh, so that's all part of a wonderful opportunity to connect to the kids, especially because he's in Orlando right now. Not apparently with the Utah team anymore. He's done and he's just transitioning into the Michigan preparations. So that should be a good indication. And I think with any of the kids, their position coaches make a difference. So that's why he needs to be very selective and strategic about who is there. But I think he can sell a lot of the things that we're looking for, and for especially the running backs. It seems like that's a good opportunity for all the running backs to be
Hmm.
like, we're gonna run the ball, right? And so you're still a valuable component of it. If you keep Alfred, that just reinforces it more. What I'm concerned about is, for example, like Andrew Marsh. I don't know. Like that could be easily something where he's like, you know what? You didn't throw to me enough anyways, and now who knows what's gonna happen next. I think Marsh and Underwood I think that's got to be a combo. That's got to be a combo deal where they're like, if you stay, I'll stay. It'll influence me to stay if you're there too.
And that's
I
got to
think
be
that's
one of his
important.
first pieces of business is in Orlando, get Marsh and Underwood in the hot tub
Yep.
and
Whoa, whoa.
just talk to them about his philosophy,
Why can't you do it over brunch? Come on.
because I think for me, like I'm Underwood's parents, I'm gonna look at the stats and be like, yo, like Utah was 90th in the nation in passing, you know? Like what are you gonna do when you come here for my son and for Marsh and the passing game? So I think he's got to make sure that he conveys that message over to them. And I think, I think he's a guy that wanted to be here. He resigned 2 days after it all went down with Moore. And he said he's entering the transfer portal, which all means like, hey, he was kind of like lobbying for the job. And the report said that his agents reached out quickly. So I think he wanted the job. So like, someone that wanted to be here, I think you'd rather have that person than someone that you have to kind of like try to buy and coax to come over from another program.
I think his because here's another parallel with Harbaugh is another thing with Harbaugh was his enthusiasm, his passion for being at Michigan. You know what I mean? And I think that if Whittingham can be something similar, and by all accounts so far, he wants to be here. He's excited to be here. He's thrilled to be here, et cetera, et cetera. I think all those things help him connect with the players to translate that, hey, this is a great place. This is a great opportunity, not just for me, but for all of us. And we're going to do great things together. The team, the team, the team. All of them all in. Come on.
It is going to be interesting though, because I don't think the OC is leaving yet from Utah, right? He's still gonna coach the bowl game, which is the same day as our bowl game. So that's a tough selling point to be like, hey, just wait till our game's over, and then once I secure the OC, then we'll figure it out. But again, this all has to be done before January 2nd, I believe,
Yeah.
in order to minimize the impact on the transfer portal.
And also like talking to the kids who are in the transfer portal. Like
Yes.
those conversations happening right now. He's got 7 days
Yeah.
to fill holes, right, from the transfer portal. So
Over under on the number of uh Samoans on the Michigan roster next season. Over under.
what number?
Five.
Over under what?
I'm
Five.
gonna say over under. I'll set it at three. Three.
No,
I think we get three
I think it's gonna be more.
transfers.
It's gonna be more.
Samoan or transfers into the roster for next season. That's where I'm placing it. Three. You're saying over three?
I
Over
think
five?
over. Going
Over
over.
three.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yo, we like we're short linemen. We need line people.
So how many? So you're going over as well on the
Yeah.
three transfers?
I mean, combining O line and D line. Yeah,
Any 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 position.
yeah, I'm
It
going
could be
over
a
for
Troy
yeah, for
Polamalu for
sure.
all I know.
For
I don't
sure.
know. It could be a
For sure.
safety coming in. Who
Sure.
knows? I'm setting it at three because it's
Over.
it's tough to get transfer students, but I think we could still get three Samoans
Over. For
onto
sure.
the roster for
I
next
think
season.
over. Over.
Wow.
Yokozuna. Go.
Yokozuna. He's not even Samoan. Well,
He's
yeah,
Samoan. He was from wasn't he from the island of Samoa?
he
I don't think
was.
so.
Oh.
Anyway, I don't know. It'll all be fun to watch. Let's put it that way. Anywho's, final thoughts on the hire and what it portends for the University of Michigan.
You're right. Yokozuna is Samoan.
He looks Samoan. Of course he was. Raise a glass to Yokozuna.
Yeah.
I mean, my thoughts are like it's a great hire.
Mm.
It's what the program needed. It was, fragile. I think as much as we love Biff, he wasn't the guy to kind of carry the program for the next 4 years. Reestablish the brand, 4 or 5 years, and then I don't know, maybe the coordinators will come in and do a great job. You can hand it over to them, or you find the person that's going to take on the program for the next, 10, 15, 20 years. But right now, I think Whittingham is the guy. And, whoever led the search, I don't know if it was Ward. There's a lot of talk about like conflict at the senior leadership level, whatever happened, but it was the right hire. And I think, we're going to be at a good place. And next year, hey, if the pieces are in place, I think we make the run. We make the run next year.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I think it was a safe hire. Do I feel like it was the best hire? No, but
Oof.
after this tragedy scandal, like who could we have gotten? With the timing of it all and everything like that, we missed, we're basically scrambling to do anything, but I'm at least I feel comfortable like these next 5 years will be building foundation, right? And I think um a little aspect of it I think needs to be in the background is like almost who is next. Like, are you scouting out coaches ahead of time as opposed to us always scrambling at the tail end? Like this whole like finding a coach like this desperately is just which is interesting because Utah is almost going the opposite direction. They already said the defensive coordinator was going to become the head coach, and Whittingham was like, I guess I'm handing over the reins, and maybe he was pushed out.
Oh, he
Uh,
was pushed out.
well, I didn't want to say it officially, but I guess he did there. But that's the part where at least strategically, I think our athletic department really needs to consider like this this aversion from panic recruiting or panic hiring. Luckily, we got Dusty May, right as he ended the Final Four, and so we were kind of, we're all already ready to kind of hire someone, so that worked out well. But with football, I think there has to be. This is such a big part of the university that I'm. This is the most disappointed I am in terms of like what more can you screw up in doing all these things, right? And so that's the part where I put it on the regents, I put it on the AD, I put it on the admin, the boosters, everyone. Guys, we know this guy is going to be here for 5 years, whether he gets us to a championship or not, but at least gets us decent. But think
At
ahead.
least decent. Oh,
And this guy talking like Square. Square, like
oh,
Square's like praying for the demise of the program.
oh,
Scott, you're gonna be
He
impacted.
is because he wants renewal, revival. He wants
oh
something better.
gosh.
Like, oh,
Let me ask you this. Of the three brand new coaches in the Big Ten, Pat Fitzgerald, Matt, what's his face? What's his last
Campbell.
name?
Campbell,
Matt
Matt
Campbell.
Campbell.
Matt Campbell, Kyle Whittingham. Who do you think is the best hire of the three? In my mind, clear as day, it's Kyle Whittingham. He has a much better track record than either of those two. He's won more than either of those two. And I think he's a better fit for what we want to be than either of those. Well, I forget the last point. Anyway, that's my spiel for why Kyle is the best of the bunch.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't. I mean, we were all like hot about Matt Campbell before.
I wasn't. That guy
No,
can't win
I'm just
against
saying like
Iowa.
no, it's saying like in general, like there was a lot of talk about him before. Pat Fitzgerald, I mean, he went from a low tier Big Ten team to another low tier Big Ten team. Like, what's the difference? Like,
Wow,
nothing
calling
changes.
MSU low tier.
Um,
Oh,
it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dillingham and DeBoer were the sexier names, right? That were out there. But one, I don't think we needed a guy named DeBoer after what happened, you know. But
what?
just I think Whittingham is the guy to kind of like stabilize
Oh boy.
the program. Like Big Red said, proven track record. He's done a lot with less, and I'm hopeful to see what he does with next year's recruiting class. You know, the recruiting that he could do now with the platform that he has. So I think we're back on the up and up. I'm really glad to just turn the page on what
Cheers.
has been a dismal 2 weeks, a gloomy, just just gut-wrenching 2 weeks.
I honestly didn't know if we were gonna get someone before even our game, and I thought maybe they would, yeah, scramble, install someone before the transfer portal. But yes, I think it's a safe pick. And again, I'd rather think about in the next cycle of this, who are we gonna get?
Oh my gosh, the guy hasn't even coached his first game. He was already talking about placing him. That's crazy talk. Absolute crazy talk.
He's gonna get us 10-2, 10-2, 10-2. All right.
Jesus.
Ah, come
Jesus.
on.
In today's world, 10-2 is going to get you into the playoffs every single time. Think about it. 10-2 in the Big Ten, you're going to get into the playoffs, especially if they expand it to 16.
Yeah.
16 teams.
And it's a major, major upgrade from more.
Yeah.
Major upgrade and more, you know.
I mean, the guy, lives and breathes football versus the other guy. You know what I mean? So there's a focus there that's not misplaced. I'll just put it that way. You know, I mean, I just wonder what we could have done in these last two seasons if we had a coach that was focused on winning. But anyway, what do I know?
That's a whole new pod in terms of what he focused on.
Oh golly, that's more like one of those what do you call them? Like a serial podcast or something. Anyway, any final thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Yes,
What?
just get Poji and Alfred on board.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
number one priority. I want to hear something from Poji and Alfred saying, yes, we know that we're coming back. That statement before our game, before
Huh?
the transfer
Huh?
portal hits, that would make me ecstatic, very excited for this program. Again, we're not going to know about OC DC anytime soon because I think he's going to wait until that BYU game is over, right? So it just ended today. So maybe DC announcement could be made. I mean, Wink, let's be honest, he wasn't going to last much anyways. Like
I think Wink wants to go back to the NFL anyway. So
yeah, he's like retirement age. So like we
I
knew
think
that
he's
he wasn't gonna
older
get
than Whittingham anyway.
yeah. So that's okay. If he gets that BYU DC, that would make me even more ecstatic. And then once that Utah game is done and or our game, he says, okay, like this is our OC. I got Alfred, I got Poggi. I would go into the new year being like this. I would be very excited if we went to the new year with those announcements.
Fair enough. Is there anything else? No? Eh? All right.
No, and then, we got to, wish our boys well in the Citrus Bowl, you know.
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know. I don't know who's playing for Texas. I think there are a bunch of kids that are like in the transfer portal, not playing on Texas's side. So
It's like all five running backs have said they're going to go in the portal or something.
it's
It's like
crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Tell you,
Sark, Sark
that's why
can't
you
keep
gotta
running back.
no, but that's another reason why you gotta really write these NIL contracts, with a lot of clarity on what's expected. Because that's just nuts. That's crazy. But they still got Arch Manning and some other dudes, so we'll see what happens. My prediction for that game is going to be Michigan 24, Texas 20. 24-20, Michigan Wolverines.
Ooh, I didn't even
Wow.
think about predicting a scoring. Go ahead, JC, if you know.
I think our offense opens up a little bit.
Oh,
I think Poggy allows them to play.
that's
Bryce
deep.
Bryce Bryce shows what he can do in front of Kyle Whittingham.
Mm.
It says, "Hey, we don't have to be the 90th passing office in the country." He throws for over 225 yards
Ooh,
and 2 touchdowns, one rushing.
Wait, two touchdowns total, one
No,
rushing?
two passing touchdowns and one
Yowza.
rushing touchdown. And we win 31
Mhm.
to 27.
I can
Okay.
see that as well.
Now that I've thought about it, the only way that you guarantee that a lot of these players keep going to the bowl is to say we're not going to be like we were before, right? We have to be like Poji's games that he did coach, willing to be adventurous. So I do feel, yes, Poji's like, hey, let's let it all air out. This is, a game to do it. Don't be conservative on it. That's great. Plus, let's be clear, our running backs room is not exactly still 100%, right? So it's like we can do that. So yeah, I do think it's going to be a messy game though. I think both sides they're going to let it all hang out, but it's kind of like it's still going to be a lot of mistakes. So I'm going to go 35-31. More offense, less defense.
Guy, just taking my score and just adding four. Holy smokes, the East score. Come on.
Oh,
This guy just taking my score at 87. So what are we talking about here?
oh my God. Did I pick a different score than you both? Yes, I did. 35-31.
Oh God. Anywho.
Michigan.
Anywho. We raise our glass to Team 146. You've been through the ringer, Team 146. You've
Uh,
gone through things that we never would have thought would have happened. We feel for you. Oh my goodness gracious. You've been let down by the man that was supposed to lead you. And we're sorry about that. But like we said at the beginning, brighter days are coming. So I raise a glass to that and we say, go blue.
Go blue.
Oh,
Those who
well.
stay will be champions.